Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Good evening, sir. My name is Amina Adam. I'll be moderating the session for today. Welcome to our mentorship and internship program on entertainment, business, and law. This is week 5, as we all know. We welcome our mentors for today. They are both on the call. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma. Before the rest of the class joins, I'll be reading out a few announcements. Hussein, if you're on the call, kindly help me share the screen. Thank you. Okay, about the program. Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program is a quarterly mentorship program for students and young professionals across Africa. Mentees are afforded the opportunity to access valuable advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion forums, industry updates, and resource materials from experienced mentors. The program seeks to encourage continuous training, development, and evolution in Nigeria, Africa, and around the world. #Gypsy MIP. You can watch our videos by searching for JIIPCC on YouTube and Facebook. The objectives of the program include 1, to provide easy access, guidance, training, and resource materials for students and young professionals in Africa. B, to facilitate dialogue and network among experienced and less experienced practitioners and stakeholders. 3, to transform mentees into mentors and leaders for the next generation. And finally, to facilitate further mentorship, internships, scholarships, and job placements for the mentees. I'll be reading our mentor's profile. Next. Okay, our first mentor for today is Ms. Onajite Oluwafunke Odiete. She's a film and film and TV business executive and entertainment lawyer experienced in content, licensing, acquisition, and distribution of film and TV programming for exploitation of rights by various on-demand and pay TV platforms. She runs Legally Plugged, a consultancy firm where they specialize in providing tailored legal solutions exclusively for creators, such as music artists, fashion designers, writers, or content creators. The mission of Legally Plugged is to protect creative endeavors and empower them with the knowledge and support they need to thrive. She has had an impressive track record as a legal and business leader in media, film, and TV. She has helped supervise several short films and theatrical productions, such as Balls, Gracie, The One for Sarah, Ije, and the upcoming feature films, The Weekend and Kilometer 17. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. Okay, there's a little bit to read. She started her career in distribution as a content acquisition intern at Premium Box Office TV, and now currently works at Grill Studios as a legal executive for the company. Thank you so much for joining us, ma. You're welcome to today's session.
Thank you for that.
Our second mentor for today is Mr. Oluwaseyi Arowo Sebe. I'm so sorry if I don't pronounce the surname right. Mr. Sheyi is the principal partner at the Lex Consults, a corporate and intellectual property law firm based in Abuja, Nigeria, which serves clients across the country and globally. The firm has advised hundreds of clients in the formation and maintenance of corporate entities, and also safeguarding the intellectual property of individual and corporate entities. He's a facilitator at the Intellectual Property Institute Nigeria, where he teaches trademarks and copyright. He holds a Masters of Law degree in Intellectual Property Law and Policy. He is also an alumnus of the prestigious Lagos Business School, LBS. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Many thanks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, we'll start we have more people on the call now, so we can start our session. The first item on today's agenda will be, we will be getting an overview of the topic from our two mentors. So I'm going to start with Ms. Onajite. Over to you, ma.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Amina, for that, the bio that you read for me. So how is everyone doing? Sorry, I have a cold, so you might not really hear me very well. My voice has changed. So how is everyone doing? Just type where you have, just chat in the chat box where you're listening from, whether it's in your university. Let me just get a vibe of, the kind of people I'm talking to. So let's just do that now. Let's just do it like this small game session right now. So just chat. Yeah. Hi, Alo Folakemi. Hi, Abu from Zaria. Thank you, Amina. Thank you very much. All right. Do we have more people? Unilag. I went to Unilag too, so yeah. Greatest are cockeyes. Okay, so if we don't have more people chatting us, I think we can just start, right? So welcome to the presentation, and I'll really be exploring the crucial aspect of protecting the photography and artwork in the digital era. So I will start with like the basics, right? Copyright is basically the foundation of protecting your original works. Copyright is like, it grants you exclusive license or exclusive rights to reproduce, distribute, display, and perform your creative work. Now, I love copyright because I work in film, and I can tell you that if, let's say, you're a creative person yourself, copyright is one of the things that can help you generate wealth so you can have a book, right? And that book already has a copyright. You can give out that book movie adaptation rights. You can give that rights to the book to another person again to just do maybe a sequel. Do you understand? It's so like it just helps you generate wealth for your future generations, right? Sorry. So it covers a wide range of artistic expression. So we all know that. Okay. All right. Can you all see me? Hi, everyone. So we all know that copyright, before you can like lay claim to copyright, it has to have like two distinct features. It first of all has to be in a written format, and it has to be original, right? It has to you have to like have a peculiar feature that is unique to you before it can be protected as a copyright. So there are different works that are eligible for copyright. There is literary works, which is books. There is photography work, which is our main focus and listen for today, which is like your photography. And I like to believe that sometimes photography can also include maybe your like photography in film before they actually put it in a moving picture. So I'm going to go to talking about film very well because that's like my area of expertise. So photography in that aspect can mean like your stills. They call it film stills. Film stills is like maybe you know how, I don't know how many of you that know Barbie. So everybody's like craving over Barbie right now. It's just like very nice aesthetics of the film. Those are your photographs from the film, right? So that is like one of the works that you need to understand. And then there's now this digital age now, there's NFT, right? NFT, I know many people already know about NFT, but it's also another form of copyright as far as I'm concerned. Digital paintings, copyright protection is automatic once you create your work. But I'm going to give you a free tip today. As working in-house lawyer, even if copyright is automatic, there's always one thing that you should always do anytime you work as an in-house lawyer, is that you have to ensure that even if it is automatic, you have to register that work, because there's a legal maxim that says first in time is the person that owns, has like more recognition, is someone that they will still listen to. So I always recommend that you go ahead and register that work with the Nigerian Copyright Commission. That's the appropriate body to register your work with. And then so really, visual art has revolutionized the creative landscape, has presented us with unique opportunities. So whether it's a virtual sculpture or digitally rendered masterpiece, ensuring to protect like your client's work is very crucial. So one of the ways for you to, so I know creative spaces, one of the things that I know about creative spaces that they like collaboration. Jesus. They like to collaborate. So it's very essential that even when you're collaborating with someone, you have an agreement that states, I know that in the music industry, the way it works in the music industry, I'm going to talk about like most industries that I'm aware of. The way it works in the music industry is that once you collaborate on a song, you have a split sheet. Now, the split sheet is going to determine your percentage of what you're going to get and how much you're going to get it. It also determines who owns the rights to that particular work. So someone else cannot come and say, I'm the one that I'm the one that drew X on this drawing. Do you understand? And then you're like, hello, you just drew an X. It's not like you drew the whole distance. So you need to make sure that there's like an agreement, like a intellectual property transfer agreement that states that, okay, whatever it is that you've done, it's not going to hinder like my own rights to this IP, especially if you want to own the IP in totality. If you don't want to own the IP in totality, that's also fine. I mean, the new Copyright Act, that's 2020, allows now for joint ownership. It was there in the old one, but it was not really clear. Now it's very clear that, okay, me and you can jointly own. And I'm sure everybody knows that, if you want to contest copyright cases at the Federal High Court, because that's like the appropriate body, courts rather, to contest copyright cases. Everybody knows that, okay, if you want to contest this copyright case, where the transfer of copyright has to be in writing. It cannot be any other way. So every time, so you cannot say, but we agreed verbally. No, that will not work. That won't fly in court, right? It has to be written that, okay, I have transferred my rights to this IP, even though I collaborated on the work. So the way it works in film is that usually film is so beautiful, and I love using film as an example because there's also like a lot of IPs in a film. Do you know that if, let's say, I'm producing a film, for example, I'm producing Onajite Ojete, right? And I want to use an artwork in the film, I have to ensure that I get the rights artistic from the artist before I can use that artwork. Let's say if in the film, my artwork is just displayed for 1 minute, even if it is 1 minute, if I'm the artist, I can sue you and stop you from releasing that film anywhere. And even if you release the film, I'm going to ensure that I get money as part of it. Another known IP in film is, like, as I said, photography, but really it's mostly the artwork, because a lot of filmmakers don't know about this, right? They don't know that Even if, let's say in your film, they'll be like, okay, Onajite Ojete likes one boy like this, and she decided to invite the boy to a museum, right? You know that if I invite a boy to a museum, I have to, they are going to obviously show that museum and show the artwork in that museum. First of all, I'll get a release form, right, from the museum, the person that owns the museum. Then sometimes the way it works in the museum or art galleries is that most of them have already signed they signed distribution rights to these people that own art galleries, and they're like, okay, if anything happens, even if I see my work in a film, I shouldn't be angry because they've already paid me for that. Do you understand? I've already done, what I'm supposed to do. So those are the crucial, points that you need to understand. Another thing you need to understand in film is that, and I'm going to really delve. I know my focus is visual and photography, but I'm going to really delve in how all these things relate with film and music. So also in music too, you know that obviously, even if I release my song, maybe I release the audio, I also want to do a video. If there's even an artwork in the video as well, you have to clear that rights first before I will allow you to use that particular artwork or photography that you want to use. Excuse me. So another thing to consider is I've talked about collaboration and licensing. So in licensing agreements, basically, especially when an artist is like, especially when an artist is giving you their rights. So most of the terms of the license agreement will include the payments. They will include how long duration I want to use it for. Now, in music, if you're doing music, for example, you know that if I want to sing music in my film, it's not the whole audio music, what's it called now? The whole hook, everything, verses and everything I'm going to give you, because that one, your money will be counting. Do you understand? Maybe if I want to use like 1 minute background, and if I want to use voices, I want to use instrumental. Or if I want to use a particular thing that is not that evident, maybe I just want to, it's small music and everything, you have to also state all those terms have to be clearly stated in any licensing agreement, be it with for visual artworks or for photography, right? What did I want to talk about again? Sorry, just give me a minute. Okay, so if you are following me, please, and if it's interesting, I don't like a boring class. So if it's interesting, please just wave your hand in the chat box. Let me know that you are with me. Do you understand? So another thing I wanted to discuss is the use of fair use, right? So fair use is essentially allows you to use copyrighted works and you are justified for using copyrighted works, right? So for example, I don't know how many of you that know Cinema Pointer, right? So let's say Cinema Pointer wants to review your film and they want to trash your film, right? They will take maybe a clip from your film. You know that obviously you own the clip to your film. And if you are seeing it on your, if they are posting it on their social media page, is a problem. But they have fair use because they are reviewing it and making commentary. So that's what you have to understand. Those are the instances where, that is allowed. Now, I don't know how many people that remember that Sabinus case, right? So, Peak Milk, right? Peak Milk went to go and use the image and likeness of Sabinus. Now, that is where the problem is, right? Because they didn't have the authorization, even though Sabinus is like a very popular brand. But the fact is, number one, he claimed rather that he trademarked his brand. And because he claimed that he trademarked his brand, another brand cannot just take that Sabinus image and likeness. Now, I explain image and likeness very well. So image and likeness essentially means that if you watch a film like Avengers, everybody knows that Avengers is from a cartoon character. When they designed that cartoon character, they didn't have anybody in mind. It's when they now started like this with storyboard and started doing 3D and animation, or started like now made it into a film, adapted that cartoon into a film. They now decided that, okay, the person image is what's his Hugh Grant, right? I hope you guys are following me, please. Hugh Grant is now the image, right? And you know that Hugh Grant has already, he's a popular actor, so he must have acted in other films before. But there's so many things in a film that is very specific to a film. If you watch a film, you know that this film, it is Avengers. Nobody will tell you. Even if you see it featured somewhere else on another film, you know that, okay, this film is Avengers. That is their trademark. Its trademark is identifying specific things in either in a film or in a brand. Does that unique feature. So I'll talk about this image and likeness again now. So now my image and likeness for me, and as I'm the filmmaker of Avengers, is actually Hugh Grant, right? And if you should use Hugh Grant in maybe your brand and you are trying to promote your brand, that's a problem for me. I'm going to sue you, because you cannot be using even if it is from a cartoon character. You can see the involvement, even if it's from a cartoon character, even if it's from a cartoon character, you cannot use that image and likeness that I have, envisioned and I have portrayed in my film in your personal brand. So that's what you have to understand when dealing with, if you are working for a brand, maybe you are working for Peak Milk, you probably advise Peak Milk that, we need to get authorization, and really it's very simple for you to get authorization. All you need to just do is you look for the managers, if the person has a manager, right? And then write like an authorization letter, and then attach it as an email and ask them, okay, we need to promote our service, blah, 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 blah. And this is how we feel fit, blah, 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 blah. I want to use your image in our blah, 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 blah. And you now send it to them. You wait for them to give you. Sometimes they might say, okay, that's fine. You can take it for free. Some other times they'll be like, okay, this is my license fee. My license fee is XXXX. It's as simple as that. So, hope I'm not, like, how many minutes do I have? I mean, can you tell me? Am I on track?
Yes, Ma, you are. You can continue, please.
Hope you guys are enjoying this class, because I feel like I'm just...
Yes, Ma, we are.
Okay, so next now let's talk about is protecting the IP, right? So there's some... So let me start now from written works. There are some written works that if you put it, this is the digital era, everybody's like woke right now, right? And some people, write blog posts, write things like that, and you attach your design, right? So there are some specific websites that you can protect. If you, I've tried it before. I'm not like that. I'm not, even as a copyright lawyer, I've tried to like copy and paste a particular content online, and they'll be like, no, the website is protected. And I'll be like, hey, Chineke. But that is a very, very good way of protecting your client's written and photography, because it's like you cannot touch anything on the website. Even if you want to download, if you like download the image from now tomorrow, it will show you black. That's how bad it is. That's one of the ways. Another way is watermark. You put you watermark your script, and you actually copyright register the script, like I've said before. But this, I'm just trying to give you like ways, like really good ways and ways that are relevant now to protect your artist's work. Another way to protect your artist's work is by ensuring, I've said copyright registration and I've said watermark, is by ensuring that if you are doing what's that word now that I'm looking for? Basically, I forgot it, that's escaped my mind. But that's basically one of the ways to ensure that you are protecting your client's work is like this 4 things that I've mentioned: website protection, creating a lock. And there's a way these IT people used to do it. I don't really know how they do it, but they have, like, if you try and download something, it will ask you for a code. Another way is you can send all your artwork by Vimeo. Vimeo, I think, is video. Vimeo, let me talk about videos now. Vimeo, and it will ask you for password. Now that password, that you can share it to anybody. Even Google link, like using Google, uploading your photos on Google Photos, right? But giving it is like, not, because when you share on Google, there's a place that says the link is open to all. Never do that, because you might be susceptible to hackers. Always make sure that the people that you are giving access to are the people that you want to give access to, right? So those are the ways to protect. Sorry, those are the ways to protect your artist and your client's brand. Is there any other thing I wanted to mention? Yeah, Canva. I want to mention about Canva now. So I need to talk about something: Creative Commons license. That's very important, because I've noticed that's one of the things that is in trends these days, right? Especially with this digital world, there's always a platform. I don't know how many people that use Canva. They use all these apps that have like a portfolio of templates. Now you cannot go and pick up a what they call it, a inspiration from Pinterest and call it your own, because all those people on Pinterest, you can be inspired, but you cannot copy anything you see on Pinterest. But I think that on Canva, not this Creative Commons license, what happens is that they already pay these artists. It's not even just Canva. What's the other name of these people? Anyways, the Canva is like the thing that is coming to my mind now. I think there's one for music where you can use songs there's already a library of songs, all these dead songs, but that you don't have money, and your client does not have money, and the client wants music in it, and they don't want to hire a music composer, because that one music composer has to charge like a lot of millions. So you don't want to use a music composer. You just want to maybe use something. I think there's I know Canva very well because I also use Canva, and I know that Canva, the way it works is that the people that own Canva, they already pay a royalties or I think license to these people, so you can actually use an alter. Please use an alter and things like that, and you will not be liable for copyright infringements. I don't know. I think I'm done actually. Okay, so I think I'm done, Aminu.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, for that. We really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And they say they were all relatable, so thank you so much for that.
I'm honored. Okay. Thank you.
A pleasure. We'll be moving on to our next mentor for today, Mr. Oluwaseyi. Over to you, sir, to give us an overview of today's topic.
All right. Many thanks for having me again, and I greet you all students here in this session. Many thanks to Onojite for the job she has done. She has laid solid foundation on this topic. I will just add a few things, and I will attempt to answer some of the questions that we got ahead of time. So please confirm that you can hear me. I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes, sir. From my end, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. So the first thing I'd like to say is that copyright is beautiful and everyone is capable of creating works of copyright. The moment you have an account on social media where you write, where you create content, you are a copyright owner. If you have ever written a poem, a love poem, something from your heart. You didn't copy anybody. You created the content, the words. You are a copyright owner. If you have ever written an article, a seminar, you have copyright work. So it is not until you go and take any definite steps to register that work that you have protection. So protection is automatic, of course, as long you comply with the consanguinity, the fixation requirements. So what are we saying? You must take the work out of your head, because in your head it is an idea. So you must bring it down to a point where we can relate with it. We want to have a feel of the work. So publish it somewhere, either in a book, either like today now we're dealing with photographs and visual artistic work and all that. So that picture, you don't just create it in your mind. You have to create it. Either you draw something or you use your camera to snap something, and then the work has to exist somewhere, either on your memory card, on the cloud where you save it, or on a Medium page where you post it, or even on your Instagram. So long you publish that work somewhere, there is protection for it. So my first challenge is that for photographs and audiovisual works, it is going to be wicked of force to expect that you register each of your photographs as a copyright commission before you can enjoy copyright protection. So we already agree that you have automatic protection. But there may now be one or two works that are perhaps high profile. Maybe you were commissioned to take pictures of President Bola Tinubu. You're commissioned to do that work. You may want to go the extra mile of registering copyright now because it is high profile, such that if anybody tampers with that work in any way, you are coming for the jugular, and then you are coming in to cash out big time. But for some other works on the street, you just snap a beautiful scene in your locality. Um, you don't need to do stressful things to protect it. It automatically enjoys protection as soon as you publish it somewhere. But there are some things that you can do. I think Onojite also mentioned it, and that is watermark. You can't do away with watermarking your work. It is a way of telling the whole wide world that this work belongs to you. It's a way of saying, if you tamper with this work in any way, I have done everything possible to protect the right I have in that work. So if you do anything adverse with that work, you're going to be liable for infringement, and I'll be seeking damages in various formats. All right. So like I said, copyright is beautiful. Each and every one of us is capable of being owners of copyrights. There are various instances of work that we create every day. If you have a social media account here, definitely you're a copyright owner in your own right. All right. There's something interesting I'd like to throw to the house. Let me paint a scenario now, and let's say somebody either answer me or just type a word or two. If I use the phone of my friend James to take a picture of James, who owns copyright in that picture? Listen again. I use the phone of my friend James to take a picture of James. Who owns copyright in that picture? Can somebody attempt to answer that question, either in the chat box or just unmute and answer? Anyone?
Abu Hurira, Folakemi, Daniel, and Otito Jesu, Somto. Over to you.
Okay, I can see a number of persons saying I do. Okay. Somebody said both, maybe. Okay. The answer that I own the copyright in the picture succeeds because I did the effort of creating that image, right? I took the picture, even though it is my friend's phone, but I took the picture. But then there are secondary things that may come up in relation to that picture. For instance, we must not forget also that James has image rights. So even though I own copyright to that picture, I must also factor in his own image rights. So which means I don't necessarily have all the powers to do as I wish with that picture. I must consider my friend whose picture I've taken, So that is another. That's one. And I like that we have a background and a working knowledge of copyright even before this conversation about pictures. All right. So in a way, my point here is that many people own copyright in works that they don't even know of. You give somebody your phone at a public function to take a picture of you. That person does not even have the knowledge that they have a right to that picture that they're snapping, even though you're the person in the picture, even though it is a phone that they use. So the person who snaps the picture owns that copyright in that work. But how can we safeguard against this kind of thing? So for example, I find myself at a wedding and I want a friend to snap a picture of me using my own phone. I can ensure that copyright belongs to me in that picture. It is to quickly enter into an agreement, no matter how brief. I know it's going to sound trivial that, so you have to do agreement for everything. Yes, this is business now. So I need to let him know from the onset that the picture you're about to take, copyright in it belongs to me, even though you're the one with the shutter, you're the one um, doing the mechanical energy at creating this picture. So just agree with the person before the person starts. And so if it is a big project, this is where legal documentation comes in. For every brief you attend to, pictures, audiovisual work, photographs, it is important that you sign agreements with people that you deal with, that you relate with. I want to paint a picture now. But is engaged, and you find that perhaps 1 in 1,000 is when there is an agreement between the couple and the photographer. So most times you just pay the photographer to snap pictures and then you just go. And then you expect to see yourself in albums, into some videos, and then some DVDs and some cloud and all that. But people don't take cognizance because they don't know anyways that photographer has rights in those pictures, in those images that is creating. So a way to ensure that copyright belongs to you, the celebrant now, is to enter an agreement with the photographers. It is very beautiful. Engage a lawyer, no matter how short the duration is. Engage a lawyer and an expert, an IP expert, to draft something that can work with between you and that photographer, so that because your interest has to be protected. Very important. I know you have image rights to these pictures, but the photographer has copyright. So if you don't use an agreement to block that angle, you may have to pay heavily if you do adverse things with those pictures. I know that also that in Nigeria, most people don't have issues with the photographers snapping them because they go about posting and nobody raises dust about who owns copyright in that. But we need to gradually sensitize people, gradually sensitize photographers to about what their rights are in the pictures that they create, in the images that they take. So get legal counsel either as a celebrant or as a photographer. Get legal counsel and enter proper agreements before you execute any work, especially those major works that run into several hundreds of thousands or millions. So there's something I also want to mention before I attempt to answer those questions, is the place of moral rights. Now, I want to speak to moral rights in relation to authors now, authors of course, copyright works, pictures, photographs, and all. And especially as associated to artworks, all these sculptures, all these expensive artworks that we see in Hollywood, you know, even when those artworks have been sold, sometimes you hear them selling a piece of art for $3 million. You'd be like, how did we get there? The caliber of the artist forms part of how these artworks appreciate and the number of years it has been in existence. For example, the Mona Lisa frame, the various sculptures that have been done or from or just pursue. So there are a lot of artworks that are actually hundreds of years in existence. So you don't expect that those artworks will be sold the same price the work that was carved out last year will be sold. No, they'll be sold differently. So when an artwork is being sold from one owner to the next, it means that the creator of that artwork already has parted ways with that work from the first sale. But there is moral rights coming in now to say that for each time that artwork is being sold, the original owner, the creator of that work, gets a fraction of the process of sale. I know this is not um, expressly mentioned anywhere. It is not loud, but that is the law. Is the law. So the original creator of that artwork gets a fraction of the process of sale. So even if you sell the artwork from one buyer owner 10 times in a year, a fraction of the process of sale each time has to go to the original creator of that work. So let me quickly move to some of the questions that we got earlier before this conversation. So we have the how can photographers and visual artists license their images to third parties while retaining control over usage and royalties? Okay, I've started answering this in passing. I said this is where agreements come in. You have to enter a legal relationship with anyone that you're given license to deal with your work in any way, to relate with your work in any way, because it is a mere picture to you. By the time they turn around that thing you call mere picture, you'll be baffled, at how much income can be made from that work. So ensure that you're not shut out of the returns of profit that will come afterward. And then in doing this, you need to retain the services of a legal practitioner, somebody who has the knowledge and expertise of of copyright, of course, IP generally. So it's important that you seek legal expert and proper guidance. And this is not free. It is not free. It's not a pro bono matter. It is not a criminal case where you attend to indigent person. Copyright is business. So we must begin to see IP generally as business, not just as the hobby, not just as charity. I know people draw for fun, people write poems for fun, but we also need to have our mind to the fact that this is business. Very important, it's business. All right. So the next thing says, what are the legal implications of using images with recognizable individuals or copyrighted content in commercial projects? I remember that Onajite mentioned something in passing on this question also. Image rights is real. I painted the picture the other time of me using my friend's phone to snap in. Even though I own copyright in the picture, my friend has image rights. So I cannot entirely do as I wish with that picture. So using images of recognizable individuals or corporate content in commercial projects is expensive. You must obtain license and please obtain that license in writing. Don't go and use Kate Henshaw's picture anyhow in your commercial project. Don't go and carry celebrity, name it, RMD, Shalashebo in a commercial project. They are coming for the entire profit you'll be making in that work. So please, if you must use the images of a recognizable person like that, reach out to their team, find out what it will cost you financially to have to use their images. Find out the procedure of using their images in other works. Of course, and you may be surprised that they might actually give you a waiver. For the fact that you reached out to ask for license, you may get a waiver as a way to encourage you, maybe young creative. The image of another person is a big deal too because they have rights to their images, and then you must get license and pay for it if there is a fee attached to that license you are seeking for. So because corporate infringement is just at our fingertips, people do it it is not even every day, like every day, every hour. And one of the people who do these things, they don't know. They don't know that they are infringing on other people's copyright work. And this is where we must continue to sensitize the public. As much as we're doing this conversation, don't let it end at this mentorship. Speak to people around you, speak to your colleagues, speak to your friends, let them know about copyright so that you can continue to pass information to the general public. So infringement is real, image rights is real, and you don't want to get accountable for copyright infringement. You might lose your business. You might just lose your business. All right, the next question here says, how can photographers and visual artists protect their intellectual property rights when operating internationally? Of course, IP is a global phenomenon. You're not limited to your jurisdiction alone. You're not limited to your own locality alone. For instance, you create work here in Nigeria.
And thank you very much, Mr. Shei. Can you all hear me?
A moment, please. I'm not done. Sorry for the timeout. So I was saying, copyright IP generally is global. It is not you're not limited to your own locality. You create work here in Nigeria. The moment that work gets published on any medium, it becomes global. For example, you publish any work of art on Instagram, on Facebook, or any social media platform whatsoever. It goes global. That means anybody in the world, all over the world, can see that work. So if you're going to collaborate with people internationally, one of the first things you must do is, the first thing you must know is that copyright inheres automatically in that work. And then you have to ensure that you have valid agreements that will cater for the interests of you and the other parties. And then something you should definitely do is that if you're putting out your work in the international market, it has to be watermarked. You have to protect it in a way that it's going to be difficult to steal. I know for a fact that Beyonce's songs are difficult to infringe on. I also know that Falz's sound, Falz the bad guy, his sound are protected that you can't even copy them. And in fact, if you eventually succeed in copying them, they would know. So you should go the extra mile to protect your work if it means encrypting it, such that it is people who have license, who have the right that can access your work. So what should you look out for when collaborating with other persons for commission projects? The obligation of both parties is important. What it is that you must do, what it is that the other person must do, and then how would disputes be resolved in case there is dispute. So don't just assume that it is just copyright, nothing can happen. Talk about how dispute will be resolved in case dispute arises. So talk about how you and that person will resolve your dispute. And of course, it is business, commercial project. How would the profits, how will remuneration of parties be taken care of? So it's important that you spell out all of these things in a documented uh, format so that you can always make a recourse to it as time goes on in the course of that work. Let me just leave the mic here. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening once again.
Thank you so much, sir. That was an insightful presentation. I'm so sorry, everyone. I need to announce that Ms. Onajite had to leave because she had something else to attend to, and she's not feeling too well. So I'm so sorry for that. She had to leave. She sends her apologies. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be taking our presentation from our mentees. So if the presenter is available.
Now before the presentation, can we take the picture time, please?
Okay.
You can stop sharing your screen for a while.
Sorry, hold on. Kindly turn on your cameras. Hussein, are you ready to take over?
Let's be taking the screen, please. Let's all we encourage everyone to put on their screen. We are taking screenshot of the session. Kindly smile for the camera as much as you can. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Abu Huraira. Mr. Sheyi, kindly, if you can turn your camera, please. Amina, Adam, Alo, Otitoni, Jesu, thank you very much. Hamzat Mohammed, are you still on the call? Yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, we can take our mentee's presentation. I've taken the screenshots. Our presenter, if you're on the call, you can kindly unmute yourself and start your presentation while you're sharing your screen.
Yeah, evening everyone. Yeah, let me try sharing the screen. What does this thing work? Sorry, is it being shared over there?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Perhaps from time to time, messages might be coming in, so please ignore whatever message you see at the top bar of my screen. Am I audible enough? Can I continue?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, then. Evening, everyone. My sincere appreciation to our mentors. I'm representing Philip, who is currently absent in a program. So as the second speaker, I would be handling our presentation for this week. As we all know, our presentation for this week is photography and visual art. But before I start, let me just tell you guys a story. So we had this friend, well, a model rather. We had this friend who was a model or who is a model. So she went to a studio some years back to take a portrait picture. And a few months later, this picture she took was displayed on a billboard. The photographer who took her used a picture for a billboard, a commissioned billboard. Now we all thought this girl had, become a superstar, and we're like, okay, superstar. You didn't tell us you're now like a commissioned artist. And she said she had no idea a photographer used a picture for a commissioned project. Now, before I delve into the presentation proper, the key factors we need to kind of pay attention to. One itself is contract. The second is image rights, and the third is copyright. Now, these three factors or these three terms pretty much are interjected. They pretty much have a hand-in-hand collaboration as regarding the existence of photography and visual art. Now in Nigeria, photography and visual arts being a small section in our entertainment industry pretty much covers 5.4% of our annual gross income. In as much as Nigerians, we are picture persons. We do not we only appreciate good pictures, but we do not appreciate the level of income good picture brings into our economic system. Now, for definition and introduction of visual arts materials, which are works ranging from fine art, photography, illustrations, crafts, and applied arts, and as well as architecture. Now, architecture would be part of this category because it falls under drawing. Now, as persons in the construction community, it's also necessary that all these works or all these images of houses, architecture infrastructures are copyrighted. So another architect, just come and scope of what you have drawn overnight and decide to build a replica of such image of such housing. When it comes to now, most times within Abuja, it's kind of rampant among artists to stay by the roadside and display their art, whatsoever form of art, be it sculptures, art and paint, or pictures taken of persons up for sale. Now, the business of art is kind of restricted because no person can sell your art unless you've given the person the right to sell your art. Perhaps you've given the art orbs or whatsoever community, CMOs that are able to sell your art. Now, we find most artists that they take personal liberty to personally sell their visual art, be it by the roadside or be it in cinemas or whatsoever places they are able to. Now, for sculptures, we can go to museums. You can go to museums. You pay to enter. You pay to get entry into these museums for you to see this art. Now, the profits could be shared between these artists and the museum owners, depending on how much or what percentage you've all agreed. So the persons, okay, I'm displaying my art today. So the number of persons are coming to view my art. Now we need to create we need to get a percentage barrier to say, okay, you're taking 60%, I'm taking 40%. Now, rentals for art, this basically falls under sculptures and painting, to the best of my knowledge. Now, artists are able to rent out their art performances. Now, one of our mentors mentioned, the first mentor made mention of even your art being displayed or being just showcased in a short film. Now, that is why you have movie directors. When they're calling for artists, they're calling for musicians, they also for arts. They offer. Sorry, am I still audible? Sorry, am I audible?
We lost you for a bit, but we can hear you now.
Okay, then. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, like I was saying, when directors for under these rentals, when it comes to business photography, as I was saying, when directors for movie owners, movie directors, or producers call for artists and whatsoever, they also call for art. Now it's proper under this term of rent that the artist, when he or she is giving his or her art outside to movie directors, you need to specify, the artist need to specify what scenes are you using my art in. It's not just proper for you to say, I'm giving you my art, my sculpture or editing, where it is for the duration of the entire film, 1 hour. Now, in Nigerian movies, it's possible, but it's still the same setting they'll be using throughout the duration of the film. Now, it's necessary for the business of photography and visual art, it is necessary the artist take cognizance of this fact that for the duration of the rentals, you are to pay me so, and so. Like I said earlier, Nigerians would not appreciate the income art brings into our either personal pockets or our economy. Is able to, give a nice texture, a nice touch to it. This paper match art he or she has done. Now, for someone or for a parent to even say, I'm going to, use this or art for something, such arts must be rented out. And no matter how small this person is, there should be a level of remuneration coming for that person. Now, intellectual property rights in photography and visual art. Now, like I said earlier, 3 terms for us to consider being contract, image right, and copyright. Now, this is where these 3 terms can pretty much play a major role when it comes to copyright infringement on photography and visual art. Now, our second mentor said, you cannot, for you to copyright something, it must be visible. It must be visible. You cannot have the image you cannot have the diagram or an image in your head and you think you are spiritually inclined to sue when someone actually produces such an image in reality. You can't have the image of, say, an apple in a cup and someone somewhere decides to draw an apple in a cup and send this out. You cannot say such image is yours because you have dreamt of saying this is my property. No. Now, for copyright duration, as we all know, it lasts for 70 years after the death of the person. Now, in reality, our arts would not reach 70 years. I respectfully, I do not know, our mentors might have different opinions. In reality, our arts year would not reach 70 years. Or the 70 years perhaps will not even be applicable, because we find, in as much as we claim to say we like so and so art, it is not possible for us to say we are going to retain so and so art. Now, as Nigerians, like I said, art is not something we really hold to heart as regarding items for us to purchase. But I feel in other countries, after the death of the artist, it is based on the contract you have signed with whatever museum or art gallery. These works will be kept. These works will be kept in such museum or art gallery, paying for a duration of time. And you still have perhaps your family or whosoever is in place of taking royalties will still be able to benefit from such rights. Now, audio-visual works and photographs 50 years after the end of the year, in which the work is first made available to the public while the consent of the author, or 50 years after the work was created, if not made available to the public within that time. Now, when it comes to you say you want to sue for someone that has copyrighted the original work, and you do not know the time the person has started using such image. It's only, you can't say you want to sue from so you can't give an estimated duration of year. You can only sue from within when you found out that such work has been copyrighted before you then sue. And I believe the remedy will then be financial remedy, where you be compensated based on the account book of the person infringing on your original work. Now, fair use of photography and visual artwork. The first story I made of our friend being a model and the photographer using a picture. Now, for the photographer's defense, he claimed fair use. And we were like, this was a commission billboard. You cannot claim this it was fair use, because you are being paid, she is not being paid. And it's the third time 3 different billboards have been using an image, and she is not aware of it. Now, it's only proper 2 things. You take down this image, or you give her a remuneration to compensate her for the duration of the time this image has been put up on this billboard. Now, howsoever that case settled, we do not know. But fair use in legal doctrine that allows for the limited use of copyrighted materials without permission from the copyright. Now, for the example our second mentor gave us regarding 2 persons, one person owning the phone and the other person taking the picture. Now, these 2 persons can use these pictures on the percentage of fair use, minding the extent at which you would use these pictures, The person who took the shot would not say, I'm commercializing this picture at the expense of the person who owns the gadget. You took the shot, but this image still belongs to my camera. It's still within the memories of my camera. So you cannot say you will commercialize it and perhaps disregard the fact that I also own image rights as regarding this fair use. Now, other examples of fair use can be academic purposes. You want to discuss an image within the academic cycle. You bring out the image, you discuss about it. Be it painting, if it's art and paints, discuss the color lines, the color textures, the brush lines, and whatever attributes it encompasses within the picture. Now, if it's capture, for captures, you want to criticize, you want to analyze the angle movements or whatsoever. It's okay. You're critiquing the sculpture, you're critiquing the picture, you're critiquing the image within a cycle of fair use. It's all for knowledge. But when you decide to say, I am cutting an arm from this image to commercialize it, it doesn't fall under fair use. Now, our Section 20 of the Copyright 2022 has defined study. Criticisms, review, or the reporting of current events will shall include acknowledgement of the work and its author, and it's necessary. When you're critiquing, when you're making references to artworks, it is necessary for the person to make reference to the original artwork. Now, yesterday on IG, our second mentor made reference of persons who write poems and other stuff for fun. Now, yesterday on IG, there was this person, I am Ua, who was the original, or who is the original author of the spoken word piece. And other persons on IG have been replicating this work without giving acknowledgement, or sorry, without acknowledging or the existence of the original author. Now, this lady came on IG and said, I am the original owner of this work. Now, nobody knows you are the original owner of this work except those persons who follow it. So it's only fair that when you are using for the purposes of fair use, it must satisfy if it's for educational purpose, if it's for transformative purposes, factual or creative, if it's published and unpublished. Now, the work, it has to fall under these categories. Is it published work? Now, if it's unpublished, there's a high percentage of the original owner not knowing about the existence of you guys using his work for fair use. Now, for published works, the percentage is very high, no matter the cycle of persons using this work for either educational purposes or under the armpit of fair use. Now, for derivative works, now I believe majority of us know this guy. There is this comedian. There's this comedian show on IG that does the mix of musics for the recent one I did was Ashake, I believe, Lonely at the Top, and other sort of music. Now that kind of work will fall under derivative works for picture and visual arts. Now that might be music, but it's also kind of pretty much applies to this work. Now, when you are altering an original work, it's necessary for you to also acknowledge the fact that you are altering the original work. But such altercation must be significant enough to say you have inserted or you have really added much effort to make that work pretty much your original. Now, where it seems as if you have done less work, you only change one or two lyrics, come on. It's very possible for the original owner to say, I'm going to sue you, not as much as you are trying to create a derivative work from the original piece or for whatsoever, you are going to be sued. Now, for musical arrangement, in the context of visual arts, musical arrangement pertains to creating original musical compositions based on existing visual works. Now, imagine for motion pictures, imagine you want to alter or change an effect as regarding motion picture. Now, the medium which this picture was originally presented, you need to alter it. You want to create your own version. You want to add paintings, you want to add whatsoever. It is allowed. All those stuff are allowed in as much as you also give credit that this is another version of original work presented by this author, and this is like my own abridged version created by me, who is the author in these particular circumstances. Now, all these categories, such as musical arrangements, motion picture version, art reproduction, abridgment and condensation, new editions, all this falls under the derivative form of works of picture and visual art. Now, for books that have been written, or comic books that have been written, now if you say you want to replicate such a book, the comic book, into action figures like cartoons or whatsoever, it's only proper on the first, if after seeking consent from the original author, it's only proper for you to say this work is let me paraphrase. This work is a copycat of so comic book. Does this is a motion picture version of this comic book? Imagine having a comic book on Shaka Zulu, Queen Amina, and you want to make a film on Queen. Okay, Queen Amina has already been made. Okay, imagine Shaka Zulu has already been made. Also, whatsoever comic book you want to recreate, it is also necessary that you do such. Now, for new edition, persisting visual work, including editorial revision, annotation, elaboration, or other modifications, is collectively from the original work. These changes need to be like I said earlier, these changes need to exhibit sufficient originality in the to be eligible protected for copyright to protect these works. You need to show that you've taking a picture of a government property and adding your own content. Now persons within a vicinity will say you are taking pictures of their property without, they want to sue you for copyrights. You've added your own ingredient, you've edited a lot of things. So I feel or believe you are well protected within the ambit of copyright. Now the second term, image rights. Like I said, like our second mentor said, the James's phone with his friend's phone, taking or clicking the shot, take a picture. Now, who owns the image rights in this place? Now, the image right will also, like I said earlier, will also fall in with fair usage. Now, you cannot take a picture of someone and say after the person has gone, then you put it on your website. Now, most photographers do it basically. Most photographers do it when, after taking a picture and they want to put it in their catalogs to send to persons to say, these are the kind of works I do. Now, I know for a fact that persons, I've not really seen an organization that takes image rights seriously as British Council. You're entering the gate of British, in Abuja, physically, you're entering the gate of British Council. They're acting fair with your phone. Once you enter the premises and want to hold any function, they give you like a 20-page document of saying it's just on copyright, it's just on image rights. Whatsoever picture you take within these premises belongs to British Council. If you want a copy of this picture, come back to British Council or any of the subsidiary offices to seek consent for those image rights. Now, both persons might have image rights over the picture taken. But it's also necessary that when you want to commercialize a picture, you must also give credit to the other person to say, I took the picture with this property. Both persons have image rights as regarding this image. Now, using someone's image without their permission, especially for commercial gains, can lead to legal issues and potential lawsuits for violating their image rights. Therefore, it's essential to respect and obtain consent from the individual or artwork or photographer or whatsoever works you are using to do what? To send outside. Now, I know for a fact that in Abuja, towards Gwarimpa, for the artists there, for you to snap their artwork, you need to verbally ask these guys, you want me to snap your work? Do you want me to snap you with audio your artwork? If they say yes, you are good and fine. If they say no, they move on. No matter how much you love this artwork, you need to ask them before they want to sell it, but you also need to ask before you bring out your phone to snap these guys. Now, artificial intelligence and artwork, okay. It's been creating dispute between artists and the tech guys as regarding AI taking over the market of artism or whatsoever. I don't know how that argument is going for now. I guess the AI guys should be winning because AI is able to reproduce, recreate, reintroduce whatsoever term you want to use to alter a picture. You want an existing picture to be recreated by AI. AI might perhaps give you a better version of what you have done. Now, I've seen people say, I've seen people say my AI version of me being a mechanic, AI version of me being a medical doctor, AI version of me being an astronaut. Now, these are products of AI artificial intelligence in the artwork. Now, it also helps artists to, improve their artistic intelligence based on persons who are willing to incorporate artificial intelligence into the existing artwork, not minding the brush movements, the color texture, the color blending, the color mixture, whatsoever in-depth analysis or color adjustments one wants to bring or portray within the art cycle. It doesn't really matter as long as an artist is comfortable. Now, there is a clamor of saying AI is copywriting the work. Now, copyrighted works from AI or printed works from AI, who is to be blamed for copywriting? Is it the person that's instructing the AI to print out these works, or the AI machine which indeed produced this work? Now, I humbly suggest a question for our mentors after this slide. Now, for income streams and royalties, now it's for the CMOs, collective management organizations, for artists and photographers, sculpture, welders, or whatsoever. Now, I believe they have an association as regarding collaborating and whatsoever. So it is only proper and fair that whosoever goes under this body gets remunerations from what they've been doing. Now I can decide to take a picture, create a sculpture, then give these guys, and they would in turn pay me whatsoever they get upon perhaps the rentals of my work or the sale of my work. Now, for licensing, you license, for, like I made earlier, the directors who call out for actors or whatsoever, they also call out for artists. Now you license them to use your work. It could be called rentals, but it's also your licensing, giving that license to say, use my work for a duration of time. Now, direct sale, like I said, artists standing by the roadside to say they want to sell their products by themselves, auction. Going as far as bidding for an art, I've not seen it. I don't know anyone. Okay, I have no experience of that in Nigeria, but in films, going as far as bidding for an art in Blacklist, we see Raymond Veritain trying to bid for art and paying exorbitant amounts of money just to buy an artwork. Now, Global News yesterday was like 2 brothers sold one Goya painting for 1.5 million euros. They sold a fake painting. At the ending, it was fake. So now I feel, well, it was fake. That was their case. So if the original artist of this work is still alive, perhaps he can sue the brother that sold the fake painting of the original painting. Now, infringement of image and visual arts works. Now, we need to understand that Section 2 of the Copyright Act has stipulated works that can be writable, and fortunately, artistic works fall under such categories. But for this work to be infringed upon, it must be visible. Like I said, you are not spiritually inclined to sue for a work you had an imagination of without recreating, reproducing, or reintroducing the work into reality. It is not possible. So these works need to be seen by the public. It must be in existence. You cannot say, I've thought of this work, so I am inclined to say I want to. So no, this work must be reproduced, it must be published, including works in an audio visual work, broadcast the work. It must be communicated. You communicate the work to the public, make the work available to the public by wire or wireless means, or make any adaptation of the work without any proper authorization, from the original author, from the original producer, can lead to infringement. And I believe there should be remedies for such infringement. Now, for the remedies and the enforcement, copyright owners can seek legal redresses so that damages, injunctions, account for profit. Like I said, you do not know when some person has been using your work. You can only then sue after you find out, and you shall be compensated from the book of accounts or the account of profits year in or year of, as when you know or find out the person has been using your work. Now, the NCC, the Nigerian Copyright Commission, is the regulatory body responsible for this, for perhaps sued on behalf of persons. We also have the CMOs, and ADR is also a way. Now, I don't know if it's allowed, but there was this popular film, King of the North? There was something Northern film. It was a popular series in Nigeria, and now these guys accidentally used from the director. They accidentally used the audio in the. I've forgotten the name of the film. The guy was original from Kano, and now when this producer saw his sound in the film, he caught the guys, and now this matter did not go to court. Because these guys, they've already made a blockbuster movie, serious Nigerian series, following season 1 and season 2. And at the end, they ended up doing ADR. And I sincerely believe we all know what ADR means as regarding settlement of disputes out of court. Now, international corporations are also pretty much applicable. Now, our second mentor made mention of the Mona Lisa picture being a world image. Now imagine someone deciding to depict the image of Mona Lisa, drawing everything, color, texture, brush movement, and whatsoever. I want to auction that picture in Nigeria and saying this is the original Mona Lisa. It's not possible. It's not possible, because everybody knows this is a fake. We don't even know if the original is in existence. So its powers can only be that this is a replica of the original. Then perhaps seek permission from whatsoever CMO is in charge of the original Mona Lisa picture from whichsoever country it's coming from. Now, Nigeria is part of numerous treaties regarding copyrighted materials, which we have the Benin Convention for the Protection of Literary and Artistic Work and the agreement on trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. Over this name long. Okay, we also have the WIPO. Now, this is World. We also have World Intellectual Property Organization that pretty much regulates all these subsidiary bodies that are parties to international treaties. Now, the third term here is contract. Having moved from copyright to imagery, and then the third term here is contract. For everything you do, like I said, British Council is one of the persons one of the organizations I feel they are key on image rights and whatsoever copyright policies. Now, contract is key. Majority of us does enter studios and take portrait and will come out and will give the guy one file for 12 copies and we come out. What happens in the future with our pictures? We do not know. And it's only proper someone who wants to venture into photography to have these ideas, no matter how shabby or shallow or silly your contract will be with the photographer. It is necessary there is a written agreement, even though it's on a foolscap sheet. Just write it anyhow in pidgin English that you guys understand, Yoruba, Hausa, whatsoever language of communication you guys feel it's necessary. Write it down, pen your agreements on whatsoever. I believe the same contract tissue paper is valid. Now, scope of your work. Now, photo form, you need to define what work you are doing. For weddings, if the person say, give me wedding picture, strictly bride and groom, you should not go and start snapping audience. It doesn't fall within the scope of your work. When they ask the sculpture guys, design the sculpture of Mona Lisa, you should not go and start doing sculpture of whatsoever person you want to do it. There should be an agreed scope of work. Now, copyright and usage rights and moral rights. We've discussed this earlier. Who has copyright over this work? Who has moral right over this work? Who has usage rights over this work? Now, this has to be a mutual agreement between parties. You have to be sincere. I am a slim, tall, fine girl who perhaps, or a slim, tall, fine boy who perhaps might venture into the model line. I want to have copyright. I want to have usage rights. I want to have moral rights over my work. It is your right to negotiate these terms with the photographer. Now, the photographer might say, I am a photographer trying to build my brand. This picture I've taken of you is very nice, it's very interesting. I want to have moral rights, I want to have usage rights, I want to have copyright over this work. You guys divide these terms and reach an agreement as regarding which terms is favorable to both parties. payments and fees. For the photographer of visual arts, am I paying you before delivery, or am I paying you after delivery? Or am I giving you a quantum percentage of what money I am to pay? 60%, 40%, it is left for you to agree. Timeline, duration, produce this wedding picture within 1 week after the wedding. 1 week. It's as simple as that. It also plays at the end with payments and fees. After you deliver this wedding picture within 1 week, I'm giving you payments and fees. Now, modality and property release. How do you want to release property? Now, should it be in hard drive property releases? Should be whatsoever mode, soft copy, hard copy? It depends on what agreement you guys have made. Confidentiality. Okay, this word. Okay, now whatsoever happens within the studio, whatsoever agreements you guys have made, it's for two persons to know. Third parties should not know. This time, I believe it's pretty much we are pretty much inclined with this term from love contract to love thoughts and perhaps evidence. Now, and then for you to indemnify. Now, it has to be for you to indemnify this person, there has to be that warranty or guarantee. It's either the picture side of the guarantee being a major point in contract. Maybe the warranty, I told you to snap me this picture under sunset, and decided to just reduce the sunlight. Now this picture is not fresh. Now you have to pay me, you have to indemnify me for the warranty you have procured or you have committed under the contract that has been said. Now jurisdiction. Now for me, I prefer jurisdiction can be termed in either two ways. Where how far this picture can go, or whatsoever, or perhaps let's say then the second time can be when disputes arises. Now, how far can this picture go? Now, if you want this picture to go out there, that means your contract to be elaborate. Haven't gotten the image right or usage right, then you want to send out this picture to the world. Now, you guys have to agree with the terms of this jurisdiction, for this jurisdiction. Okay, not even there. So am I in line with you guys? Okay, therefore conclusion, like I said earlier, many countries within Nigeria, so many persons within Nigeria do not know it, but give us 5.4% of our annual gross income. So it gives us domestic product as regarding our income in the entertainment industry, and kind of the contribution of the visual materials is customarily measured by two parameters: visual and graphic arts and photography. So in conclusion, I believe for whatever item I've missed, I sincerely apologize. And for persons who perhaps would want to get more information regarding the presentation, could please go within the slides. With this, I will conclude my presentation, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello, Abu Huraira, are you done?
Yes, I am done. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Sorry, my network was off for a moment. Thank you very much for that very, very detailed, amazing presentation. Very, very insightful. It covers like every aspect of the topic for today. We don't have our second mentor on the call, but we have Mr. Sheyi Arowo, sir. I would also call on him to give us any comments he has on the presentation. He has already taken some of the questions that we sent in before the session. So I encourage anyone that has any question. I believe, Abu, you were talking about, you were speaking of the question you had. So you can ask a question after Mr. Sheyi's comments. Mr. Sheyi, I don't know if we still have you on the call. Is there any comments you have on the presentation?
All right, I'm here and I listened attentively to the presentation. It was well detailed, and I must confess, a detailed one. And I was more interested in the business angles that the presentation came from. And that is one of the things I mentioned earlier, that when we talk about copyright, we should look at the business angle, which means we must tidy up all the loose ends that are applicable, from the creation to the licensing to the authorization we're giving people. And then there's a thing that happens when you create copyright work or IP generally. There are some people who go as far as setting up watchdogs to look to watch out for their work, to ensure that the first person that attempts to infringe on their work, the person is addressed, by way of writing letter, making demands and all that. So until we start to think business with our intellectual property, infringement will continue to be a thing that is allowed, or like a given every other day. So think IP, think business, and then you surely find serious ways of protecting that thing that is yours. Please, I'll just make a few comments, and that is all. It's a very beautiful presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that comment. Abu Huraira, I don't know if you are still going to ask your question. And if anyone also has a question, you can ask now.
Yeah, my question is on AI. Who owns copyright over the work? The AI guys that deal with who is to be sued? Is it the AI or the person instructing the AI to print out his works?
So there's something about technology that I keep saying every day. No matter how swift technology is, no matter how beautiful it is, there is still the human factor behind it. So if tech succeeds, if AI succeeds in doing something, there is a human factor behind it. Look at Tesla cars now, electric cars and all that. Look at there's even recently flying cars now. Now there's a human factor behind those things. So if anything happens and AI commits a wrong that you feel should be addressed, or what you should look for is the human face behind it. You cannot drag the machine to court. Somebody operates the machine. So you have to look for the human face. You have to sue a juristic person. It's a juristic person that you have to hold accountable and responsible for that infringement. And this is where you cannot take the human face out of anything that we do, no matter how beautiful tech is, no matter how fast tech is. Remember all the bank apps that we have today, they still fail, they still mess up, but you still have the IT guys behind the scene ensuring that they try to fix the bug, they rectify the issue, they upgrade the site and apps and all that. So the human factor is still as important as you can imagine. So for me, I would look out for the human factor behind the AI and bring them to account. In my opinion, I may be diverse opinion to that. Anyways.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone with any question before we leave for today's session, you can ask a question now. Okay. Our first moderator for today is Norma on the call. She left the call, and our first mentor also. Thank you very much for staying with us to the end of the call, Mr. Sheyi. And we hope to have you on other sessions, and we truly appreciate you taking out the time to come and answer our question and also give us more knowledge on the subject matter for today. Abu Huraira, thank you very much. Well done for a very wonderful presentation, and to all the team that created and made the research on the presentation. Thank you very much, everyone. Good job, and keep it up. I think we've come to the end of the session for today, and we can leave now. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Sheyi Arowo Sebe. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I wish everyone the best going forward.
All right, thank you, sir.